and welcome back to another video about Honkai Impact. Today we are going to continue with the story chapter 26, the birth of tragedy. And yeah, overall it is this as a giant map in which chapter 26, 27 and 28 play. Last episode we finished 47% of chapter 26, so the plan for today is to finish this chapter, and yeah, for that we will now begin. So yeah, I will still use this team and this core chips, so yeah, let us begin. Okay, we are close to the Hyperion to pick up Kiana. Let's first stop Kiana. Long time no see, Kiana Kasana. Yes, when I escaped from you, I never thought the day would come when we would be fighting side by side. You could say that the task of resisting Honkai has made our paths cross again. Indeed, leave the unhappiness of the past behind us. The future of Schicksal belongs to our generation. Before Otto Apocalypse resigned, he also found his true path. His future probably won't overlap with ours again. What? What do you mean by won't overlap? Nakamitsu, you really... I should make clear that I was just speculating, although I do think it's a reasonable speculation. Point is, I believe that in previous experiments, Mr. Otto really found a way to return to the past. Return to the past? Are you talking about time travel? How is that possible? According to the physics of our world, time travel cannot happen. Even though we caught that strange Otto, he can't possibly be the real Otto from 500 years ago, right? Alright, I understand where you're coming from. Yeah, Tesla Senpai is right. The manipulation of time that you see in sci-fi stories doesn't really exist. But ontologically speaking, I think Mr. Otto still found a way to return to the past in some sense. Hey, are you just playing word games? Of course not, Tesla Senpai. Ontology is a serious area of study in philosophy and logic. But to understand what I was saying just now, I need everyone to recall the implicit meaning of time. Time, isn't it just time? There's nothing more that can be said about it, right? No, Theresa, time is indeed a concept that is hard to define, but its implications depend on how you look at it. In essence, everyone can only consider the present moment. Because of this, everyone thinks that time is related to cause and effect. But if we dig deeper and think about what the present signifies, so human logic seems to reach its limits at this point. Not necessarily, Tesla Senpai. As you probably know, our world isn't the limit of existence. Outside of our world, the imaginary tree and the sea of Quanta also affect our fate. But outside our world, can time have... Wait, are you suggesting that there are observers outside our world? This is something we learned from multiple experiments. Through activating the second divine key, linking the bubble universe to the imaginary tree, we determined that outside our world there's still bits by certain words and won't degenerate into chaos. To be more specific, one can travel backward in time freely, no different from traveling through spatial dimensions. On this basis, it follows some other basic principles, similar to other dimensions. It has a very various types of energy restrictions. And some of these restrictions cause time to flow in a fixed direction in various subspaces, limiting the capabilities of objects in those spaces. We believe that is the reason for the existence of everything in our world. That is to say, the arrow of time is not a basic principle, it is a consequence of the existence of our world. I don't fully understand, but are you trying to say it's because of the stable existence of our world that no amount of power can interfere with the flow of time? Exactly. But the situation is different in the imaginary tree, because it exists beyond our world. You can think of it as a server that holds all the game data. The server has all kinds of mechanisms to generate countless game worlds, and you are just a character in one of those worlds. The server records every action you take at every moment. You can see the records, but you don't have the ability to change them. Because you are used to this, it seems like the data stored on the server cannot be changed, but to the server itself there are no such restrictions. The game server that is called the imaginary tree can use the save file from any moment in time to generate a new parallel universe. Just like servers in online games, universes can be opened, closed, or merged. This is no different from the theory of parallel universes. The new you is not the actual you, just like we've seen with Mr. Otto. True, that is how we ordinarily understand parallel universes, but that's referring to already existing parallel universes, Tesla-senpai. What do you mean? I mean that at the particular point of origin of parallel universes, others don't exist, and there is only one reality. To someone experiencing this single reality, they can choose the future they want. In fact, such a thing is happening every moment, it's just that we are unable to perceive it subjectively. Sorry, I'm already completely lost. Oh, let's continue to use the analogy of a game then. Imagine you are a free character in a game and suddenly you are facing a choice. Because you have free will, you can randomly select either of these two choices. But without any external information, you will never know. However, in other versions of the game, the content of the choice is the same. You also don't know which choice you made in other versions of the game. All you know is that you are you, and now is now, and that a choice is just a choice. Your free will actually never change. You could even say that from this perspective, all the other universes running on the server are irrelevant. From your point of view, there's no way to return to earlier parts of the game, and you only get to make choices once. Sorry, what you're actually trying to say is, by using some of the imaginary tree's functions, Otto was able to live his life again? Maybe living life again is not the best way of putting it. It even has the opposite connotation. But to simplify things, yes. But I know that what's really important is intention. Mr. Otto wouldn't give up an opportunity to return to the past. Oh, I see. If I really had lived for 500 years, maybe I would really change like that. What changes are you talking about? If someone lived for 500 years, his observations would be 10 times stronger than mine, or even 100 times. I don't think someone like that would act like I did just now, and re-elevate his own life based on outside information. Yes, no one in the world would be more stubborn. No, maybe Kevin would be. But what you're saying is true. I can't imagine that someone like that would make any changes after hearing what others have to say. If you compelled him to change his situation, he would do so based on some kind of inherent motivation. I don't think of myself as one who clings to power. The reason I joined the Resistance Army was that they fought under the banner of the Holy Maiden. Maybe I just selfishly wanted to keep the name Kallen from being defeated again. I'm telling you the honest truth. Maybe you find my motivations funny or not worth caring about. But you should know that when Kallen died, that part of myself called the ego went with her. So if I may be frank, there's not a moment when I don't wish to return to the past, to those days when Kallen was still in our world, to return to the time when I had an ego. I think that person would fear this even more. But don't you have your own life? So that grand Schicksal overseer making his mark on the world for 500 years is just a walking shadow, a pitiful puppet? You look surprised. I think that if you live in a sufficiently unrestrained environment, it's easy to forget how uncommon and fragile free will is. You should know that an ordinary person like me, life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that trots and threads his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to day, to the last syllable of recorded time, and all our yesterdays have lighted full. It seems you're quite familiar with the works of Shakespeare, Mr. Otto. Yes, both Kallen and I had encounters with her. When I was 12, I also encountered Shakespeare. He was a ship captain and taught me a lot of things on my voyage. It was her that encouraged me to see the world in my own way and to ground my decisions in reason. She helped you establish your own system of values. That's right. While we are on the subject, I hope everyone will act reasonably. Everyone, we came together to cooperate because of the lost Herrscher Core. Let's not beat around the bush. Almost everyone here is worried that our cooperation could be disrupted by someone making an irrational decision. But what I wanted to say was, the irrational tendencies for certain individuals are all the more reason for us to work together. Hopefully we can solve the problem before he gets involved. Indeed, just as Donda said, the ultimate reason for our cooperation is to eliminate the dangerous effects of Honkai. I think that's enough discussion. I will now repeat the plan that we drew up earlier. First, our overall goal is to test for spatial anomalies suspected to be the Herrscher of Dominance puppet strings at several locations. Then we need to determine the location of the Herrscher Core in other dimensions. Second, the personnel who will be doing these tests include Dr. Tesla, Ms. Dondal, Kiana, Mr. Otto, and myself. Third, because it's the closest, we will do our first round of testing at Street 1491 square and obtain our first batch of data about the Herrscher Core. There's no time to waste. Everyone, let's go. Yes, madam. Yeah. I think it's relatively understandable what was told. So the overall concept is that Otto is not playing the game again, but goes to the starting point of everything. So the one point where not even one choice was made already. Or at least that's what I got out of it. Not that this automatically needs to be true. But yeah. But let's continue our sleep. The street. This is called Street 1491 Square. Is it to commemorate us overthrowing old Schicksal? That's wonderful. That's right, Miss Octavia gave it that name herself. Ah, you probably know her, Viola. Oh, is that so? Although I don't know about your world, in the original world, Viola didn't run into any big problems, did she? Perhaps. Anyway, before we find the Herrscher core, there's probably no way for you to go back. You might as well make the best of it, no use in worrying. Right, don't just stand there, walk around the area. That way the data we collect will be more accurate. If enemies appear again, you three should be strong enough to protect the test sample with arms and legs. This is what Doctor suggested. Let's talk while we walk. Relax, I definitely comply with everyone's instructions and do my best not to get in the way. I hope so, although I won't lose my temper at you like Doctor did. You should be aware that I have no obligation to treat you nicely. Yeah, I keep that in mind. Yeah. Especially Kiana. There's no reason. Oh, okay, so in this world are the enemies. I already wanted to say where are they? Can stay simply steady hiding? Oh, that explains it. That explains it, of course. They are inside the sword, and it makes sense that I couldn't attack them before. Thankfully they are relatively easy to defeat. Everything collected, then I want to open the chest. Okay, core skill level up. Okay. When far away, okay, you are quite a new core skill, it appeared to switch. Okay. Right, Kiana, you know what? There's an old building in this area where Fuwa used to live. Fuwa's house? Yeah, Overseer used to mention it occasionally. If you feel later, maybe you can take her over there to look around. Okay. Good. If you do it like this, we get accurate data from this area. Two objectives remain. Let's continue and try to maintain this efficiency. As Tesla confidently issued the order to proceed, someone's comm device started to beep. And for some reason, Tesla suddenly felt something was wrong. Sorry, I need to take this call. This is Dundal. Yeah, Theresa and Pai and Kiana are with me. How about this? I switched to the public channel. What happened? It's Emperor. Overseer ordered her to pass on some information to us. That isn't Grandpa's style. Why wouldn't he speak to us directly? Good day, Master Theresa, Master Dondal, and everyone on Hyperion. This is the Schicksal Overseer's personal secretary, Ember. Overseer reports that he and Rita have logged onto the location of the Herrscher of Dominance Core at Street 537 Church. He wanted me to relay this information to you. What did you say? Rita? Did she go on a mission towards Serpent? An overseer said he was busy sorting out the aftermath of his resignation. Was that just a pretense? All Overseer said was that he and Vita had logged onto the Herrscher of Dominance Core at Street 537 Church. As for how he found it so quickly and why Vita is there, forgive me, I'm not in a position to ask about such things. So does that mean we fell for the old man's tricks again? No, Overseer said that if everyone proceeds together to Street 537 Church, he would help the Hyperion crew recover the Herrscher core. Everyone? Ember, who is he planning to bring to the scene? Madame Theresa, Master Dundal, Kiana, and that other Otto that you found. Me? Yes, Overseer believes your presence is necessary to complete recovery of the Herrscher core. Damn, that information has gotten out. But with this many people, it's hard to avoid. What do you think, Theresa? Even though Sun 537 Church was originally one of our targets, we don't know what Otto is up to. But to solve the problem we're facing, we have no choice but to go. The good news is, since Ember said Grandpa and Vita already located the course location, we don't need to deploy everyone. Ember, please relay to my grandfather that Theresa will proceed by herself to San 537 Church to provide assistance. If he has the ability to locate the Herrscher core on his own, then why does he need Kiana? Overseer said the Herrscher of Flamenco doesn't need to attend, but he emphasized that the other Otto's help would be indispensable. No problem, although I won't be able to provide anything that the others won't. I'm duty bound to help the best of my ability. Thank you. Unlike my grandfather, you have a sense of responsibility. Ember, did Overseer have any other questions? I can go with Theresa Senpai, of course. He said he didn't. He didn't consider other elements to be decisive. Okay, but in that case, due to security concerns, unfortunately the other two will have to return to the Hyperion and stand by. Especially you, Kiana. I think being near him puts you at risk. I understand, Principal. I remain in the rear to protect everyone. Thank you. Red Dundal and Mr. Otto, let's go. Yeah. To be completely true, I think it's not. I think the plan is that Kiana isn't attending or going there. So, how can I want to deactivate? Okay. That's also a way of doing it. If they just jump to that death themselves. Can I see the map? Okay, so we need to go down there. Then this teleport point would be the best one to proceed for. Oh yeah. Shortest way to keep the place we need to go. All we want to finish this chapter, this episode. And after this part, I will look for how much I still need to do, how much percent I have finished. Okay, and perfect. And just to be safe, I will subject it. Bornya since Bornya has the Herrscher of Resistance, has a type advantage. Perfect. And now we can switch back to Kiana. Okay, so that's the street. Why is there another boss here? That didn't work as intended. And ultimate. Okay. Thankfully, it's not that part. I would say as a boss. I also would say I like to fight against you. Hate it when they move so much. And defeated. That's the statue of the Holy Maiden Kalen. I remember Grandpa said that these things should be kept in their original state so it's seen better days. Oh, it will place the statue of the gallows here. It's just a shame that people's commemoration can't actually revive the Holy Maiden. Gallows? It's said that this is the place where Kalen Kaslana was hanged. Yes, after being betrayed by the people, the Holy Maiden was willing to sacrifice her life to bring enlightenment to the ignorant masses. I saw her that night before she was executed. She was no fool. But when someone genuinely wants to change the world, they will discover how insignificant their power is. After she was arrested for the second time, she gave up hope completely. She rejected all plans to break out of prison and awaited death. During her trial, she stubbornly stuck to her views, ensuring her execution. Maybe for her it was a final act of resistance against this unjust world. Maybe so, but the Holy Maiden showed greater mental toughness. She was stronger than that even she could imagine. Grandpa? Theresa, you've been so busy these days. I know you have a lot to say to me, but let's get the important things out of the way. I've already recovered 99.9% of the Herrscher of Dominance Core, and about to get the last 1%. Come on, Aeon, in the ruins of this church we welcome this momentous occasion together. Please come in, Aeon. I stand guard outside the church. She, to some parts, looks similar to Kalen. Oh, yeah, I don't need. No, I even need bonus. Yeah, let's. I just want to use the better one. Okay, and reactivate. Yep. Okay. Then let's go into the church. What is this? 99 distributed Herrscher cores. I used the second divine key spatial manipulation technology to break their aggregate into pieces like this. Of course, the goal is to locate the final piece of the puzzle. Dr. Theresa of Anti-Entropy said she would soon be able to use the data she collected to deduce the location of the Herrscher core. I believe she can do it. It's just that I, Otto Apocalypse, have a simpler method. There's no reason for her to get her hands dirty. It's time we retrieve our experimental items. A deadly looking blade flashed out of the shadows with a metallic sound. And as soon as the two unsuspected vagaries turned around, the guest they had brought with them had been transformed into a lifeless corpse. Rita, what have you done? Calm down, Master Dunda. He was nothing more than another one of Overseer Solium bodies. That's right. This was my simpler method. Look, I help you collect the final piece of the puzzle. What have you done? It will take a while to explain, so... If you don't mind, I wash off my hands first. Let's sort this out from the beginning. Several months ago, test subject K423, now called Kiana Kaslana, defeated the Herrscher of Dominance and rescued her comrade. Although the Herrscher of Dominance was dead, there was no trace of its core. With help from the second divine key, I entered the ruins of the Theater of Domination. And there I found a crucial clue. Due to the unique structure of the Herrscher of Dominance Core, part of it was hidden in imaginary space, searching for a new body to inhabit. As is well known, the Herrscher of Dominance is most interested in people who feel hopeless and are inclined towards chaos. And it was due to this that I was able to implement my complete recovery plan. I don't understand. What does this have to do with the Mr. Otto who Rita just killed just now? Please be patient, Donna. Think of it this way. When you and I entered the ruins of the Theater of Dominance, I had already collected 999 of the distributed Herrscher of Dominance cores. But the last one unfortunately hid itself in the abyss between dimensions, making it hard for me to follow its trail. Therefore I decided to give some bait to this last core, a host that it could not refuse. That's right, I'm talking about myself, Otto Apocalypse. Why? Didn't that Otto already tell you? His holy maiden died because of him, and he lived his life after that like a walking corpse. Perhaps the present me is not that fragile, but the Otto Apocalypse from 500 years ago, he carries more pain in his heart than anyone. So I decided to create an incomparable host for the Herrscher of Dominance based on this elaborate trap. First, I used the second divine key to project data from certain spaces on the imaginary tree into the Theater of Domination, which I already collected. Then I used the 999 cores to take the data that had been projected into the Theater of Domination and manifested it in the real world. In this way I was able to leak information from another era into our time without disturbing space-time itself. I just needed to prepare an Otto Apocalypse from 500 years ago to serve as a trap for the Herrscher, and everything was in place. Are you saying that what we saw of the past was just fragments of information? Perfect replicas? Yes, all of it was nothing more than side effects of the plan. Nothing besides information can leak into our world. Everything you saw and collected was regenerated in our world. You may think that I cheated, that I only simulated a result that no amount of energy could achieve. But in the end, I really did recover the escaped Herrscher core. And what about that selenium life form lying on the ground? He was only a simulation, of course. The simulation included real, complete historical data about his life. Because of this, he firmly believed he was the Otto Apocalypse from 1491. He believed he had just led the rebel army in the uprising against old Schicksal, that he had done it all for the Holy Maiden. And this was needed to make sure that he still carried resentment in his heart. Do you want me to remind you of the actual history? A leader of New Schicksal betrayed all of his comrades over a 500-year period just to compensate for his wounded heart. Eventually he became the ultimate evil in the eyes of anti-entropy. Even his closest advisors only served him to maintain order. And that other him that you saw was just beginning a long, dark journey. He was like Macbeth after he saw the witches. His own obsession sealed everyone's fate. The result was just as you have seen. The missing Herrscher core mercilessly used him as a host. The cleverness of this fusion almost escaped the notice of this genius doctor at anti-entropy. But based on the results, it was you who manufactured this consciousness, and then you killed it in pursuit of your own goals. Yes, don't tell me this is the first time you've heard me of doing something like this. For example, the person I saved 500 years ago, I drew my gun on 500 years later. This is how Otto Apocalypse does things. Another example, to study the power of Herrschers, I snatched away the second Herrscher from anti-entropy. Mr. Wade was about to destroy her for the sake of humanity at that time. After that, I did kill her, then revived her to test her powers. I tormented nearly everyone on Hyperion. This is something else Otto Apocalypse has done. Don't I? You obviously know how these things developed, but you only care about an artificial consciousness that only existed for a few hours? Ah, did I make you angry by saying these things? Then I will apologize. Because the way I see it, avoiding harm to innocence is a good reason not to do something. I know you aren't a little girl anymore, Bianca. These past few years you defended your own life, withstood the darkness of this world and the acts of necessary evil I ordered. There's no shame in that. You've shown maturity and perseverance beyond your years in this matter, so I will tell the world without hesitation that you are Durandal, or the best student I've had in 500 years. You... Okay. Don't make things difficult. You're a good kid. And Theresa, why do you have to stare at me like I'm a murderer? Your grandpa isn't a monster. I wouldn't kill someone without a good reason, no matter what. In the past, because I had no alternative, I overstepped against you and your subordinates. But my child, haven't you left these annoying matters behind you by now? When I said I was resigning, I meant it. I really am leaving Schicksal. You should know that over 500 years, I went through a lot before I finally found a home. That's something priceless, and it's worth sacrificing everything I have for it. What is it that you found? I found a moment in time, a Holy Spirit who has not died yet. You know, some people die too late and others die too early. She believed she found her own death, but everyone knows about that extremely unfortunate occasion. To the contrary, if I could decide my own death, I would use my death to prove to her that going to one's grave voluntarily is a magnificent end to her to life. Then she will realize that her life meant a future of liberation and glorious human flourishing. Come, as a token of our continued relationship, please accept this gift, my dear Theresa. A multitude of Herrscher cores that looked like stars in the night sky fused into one mass in the blonde-haired man's hand. He held it out as if giving candy to a child, and put the precious stone into Theresa's palm. Here, try to make use of its power, Theresa. Perhaps it will become a perfect weapon for you. Thanks for the reminder, and the Entropy scientist will do research on this. Yeah, I'm not worried about at all. They always do great research. They definitely will help you resolve this troublesome questions of intellect. You don't need to be so angry, Theresa. The succession ceremony will be held on schedule, and I guarantee that you will have all the powers of a Schicksal overseer. And as for me, I will soon set off on the last part of my journey to the other side of the world to seek the soul existence, a hero you all have heard so much about. Kalin Kasana, the only one worthy of my sacrifice. Wait. Yeah. Of course, that's the plan. To get her back. What else could have been the plan? Master Theresa? Ember, where did your overseer go? I'm sorry, Master Theresa. Overseer requested that I protect his privacy. But since you already have the Herrscher of Dominance Core, why not send it back to the Hyperion for analysis? That's what I was planning to do myself. I don't need you to remind me. Will you come with me, Dunda? I'm not sure if... Of course we will return to the Hyperion with you, Master Theresa. Huh? Oh, even Vita wants to come. Of course, you can consider our time serving Master Otto to be over. For the foreseeable future, we are at your service, Master Theresa. This was approved by Master Otto. But Rita, you returned from World Servant without saying a word, and you still... I'm so sorry, Donda. Before Overseer wanted me to maintain a strict secrecy, so I didn't have the chance to contact you earlier. To be honest, he told me some things that I did not expect. Can we talk about this on the way? Sure. Yeah. Of course he is playing again. After shower, put the gears. So I want to see how far we are. Since I really can't. 61%. So we didn't even make much progress with these two things. Yeah, I should have more power now, so I can put these two things back in. Then let's go to the map and continue. I think the things will go a bit faster now. Rita, you only left for World Serpent headquarters yesterday on a scheduled mission. Did Overseer force you to return once you were on the way? Yes, he did. Overseer said that handing off my original mission to civilian staff would be fine. Strange, if he really just wanted to destroy his own Selenium body, he wouldn't have needed you to be there. What is Grandpa screaming? Master Theresa, Master Dundal, remember that just now Overseer mentioned his journey? Yeah, he said he wanted to go find Kalin Kaslana. He told me that when he called me back, he said that based on his long-term research on the Herrscher of the Void and the second divine key, plus the experiment on the bubble universe, he has discovered the only way to bring someone back from the dead. Nagamitsu also mentioned this to me. She said the reason Grandpa resigned was to return to the past and reunite with the Holy Maiden Karen. Mr. Nagamitsu was the one who executed a lot of the experiments planned by Overseer, so it's not strange that she guessed that, but is there something about it that doesn't make sense? Yes, and it's quite obvious. If Overseer can really achieve time reversal on his own, then what he's doing now, it will unavoidably get too many people involved. Whatever it was, systematic resignation or selecting the old headquarters to recover the Herrscher Core, ordering me to assassinate his Solium clone. Compared with Overseer's other plans, everything that's happening now feels hollow somehow. And as I was preparing to strike the target, he said this to me. Once Theresa has the Herrscher Core in her position, you can tell her everything we just talked about. And this made you more suspicious? Yes, this is normally how Overseer handles things. For covering the Herrscher Core in his journey were entirely separated things, then it would mean he was putting a lot of effort into something he considered to be relatively unimportant. True, although Grandpa can be a bit pompous, he cares about cost and efficiency when it comes to important things. So Vita, do you mean that recovering the Herrscher Core in Overseer's journey are secretly connected somehow? Connected so closely that he had no choice but to do this? I believe it's reasonable to suspect that. After all, no one knows what the cost of Overseer's journey will be. If finding Karen Kaslana has been his core motivation all his life, we must consider other things he's done to be related. For example, the Herrscher of the Void, or the second divine key, or even the expedition I went on with Dorndal in 2012. I will request that the anti-entropy doctors take this into consideration when they are doing their research. But at present, the most important thing is to probably deal with the Herrscher of Dominance Core and make use of it necessarily. I remember when Fuha, Gianna Kaslana and Bonnier Psychic, the Herrscher cores, were all affected by the Herrscher of Dominance. Yeah, no matter what happens, we finally seized its core. Now it's time to witness how the series of misfortunes comes to an end. The Schicksal Overseer's dramatic and distressing actions caused the vagaries from different factions to share more intel with each other. But as they worked towards an unclear goal, they still hadn't realized that everything they had seen up to this moment was an elaborated performance that Overseer had deliberately put on for them. The real crisis was being covered up by this unsettling performance, and things were going in a direction far different from what they expected. Yeah. Cool. What is the main mission? Yeah. Okay. We still have... still at 26. Let's lead the Peters one. Since I didn't manage to just walk around it. Oh yeah. Some elevator. And up we go. And back to the Hyperion. Could have also teleported, but that's not as interesting. Damn, this useless rotten core, just smash the thing and be done with it. 16 1918, Saturday, October 14th, 2017. For the third time, Dr. Tesla's shouts of frustration echoed through the Hyperion. It all started over 20 minutes earlier. We've been through a lot, but it looks like the Herrscher of Dominance incident has finally come to an end. We just need to take the final step, just to be sure. Let's give it a little Honkai energy and test whatever the core is still alive. Theoretically, it's definitely alive. There's a 99.7% chance. Alive? Are you talking about the difference between Herrscher cores born in our era and those from the Divine Key? You could say that, although I don't think you realize that the fundamental difference is... By the way, Muppet, didn't you write an internal memo about this recently? Why don't you tell them about it while I prepared the experiment? It was only conjecture. At least there's no experimental evidence and it might raise more questions than it answers. So what? You should tell everyone, and the experiment we're about to do will definitely prove you right. And the people from Schicksal happen to be here. Wouldn't it be nice to let them listen to someone besides Otto? Yeah, tell us more. With regards to the Herrscher Core, the souvenir himself was the first Herrscher of entropy. You must have some interesting perspectives. Okay, I just get right to the point. I did some comparative research on Herrscher cores from both eras, and the result suggests maybe it's not as simple as categorizing them as living or dead. You might be jumping to conclusions. Let me give you an example. In terms of appearance and behavior, ants and termites have a lot of similarities, right? But in terms of taxonomy, ants belong to the order Hymenoptera, while termites belong to the order Platoea. I can't pronounce that. Basically, ants are a specialized kind of wasp, while termites evolved from cockroaches. This is an example of convergent evolution in biology. Ants and termites were originally completely different, but through convergent evolution they became very similar. Oh, just like the astral harness from the Sea of Quanta looks a lot like a Valkyrie battlesuit at first glance. Hold on, in that case you mean Herrscher cores born in our era and Herrscher cores from the Divine Keys are two inherently different things? That's exactly what I'm guessing. The Herrscher of cores born in our era have a somewhat flexible relationship with imaginary space. For example, under the right conditions they can transform an ordinary person into a Herrscher. The Herrscher cores from the Divine Keys of the previous era are not capable of this. Indeed, they can only be used to adjust fixed power levels, and they have no way to develop new functions. A clear example of this difference was the incident involving the rebirth of the Herrscher of Thunder. When Raiden May's own Herrscher core formed within her body, the gem of conquest which originally had this power vanished. But the third divine key, owned by Word Serpent, was unaffected by these events, similar to the situation with Kiana and Judgment of Shamash. Now that you mention it, I think Word Serpent emphasized that only living Herrscher cores were useful for their plan. Of course, this could be a special characteristic of the 4 Siren stones, but one could also speculate that the difference between the cores born in our era and those from the previous era is much greater than we imagined and more fundamental. I did some calculations based on this supposition, and the results were surprising. The two types being fundamentally different requires simpler premises than the Siren stones having special characteristics. The later possibility requires presupposing a large number of parameters for the math to output the right answer. And for the former, the only thing we need to assume is that the imaginary singularity is not a real point, and that it doesn't carry any dimensional information. Wow. Brevity is the soul of wit. The imaginary singularity is the fundamental attitude of Herrscher cores. Yes, that's the beauty of this hypothesis. We know that the imaginary singularity is in a Herrscher core refers to an impossible structure that can trigger all supernatural phenomena. And mathematics doesn't prohibit impossible structures from having structure. Following that reasoning, discovered that Herrscher cores from the previous era correspond with a dimensional pure singularity, and Herrscher cores from our era correspond with one-dimensional strange loops. In layman's terms, the structure of this loop allows the core to live and reactivates its elasticity. Can it be understood like this in everyday language? The Herrscher cores from the previous era are passive. Once they are removed from the Herrscher itself, they won't undergo any more changes. They seem to be dead. The Herrscher cores from this era are dynamic. Even when removed from a Herrscher, they can still transform themselves. In that sense, they are alive. Right. If the Herrscher of Dominance Core is alive, this guess will increase its confidence level, but on the other hand, we can only assume that at the lowest levels the structure of our world... my bad, don't jinx it. What happened, Dr. Tesla? See for yourself, I don't know how to explain the results of this experiment. How could this be? The Herrscher core is... I can't detect any imaginary singularity in it. Does this still count as a Herrscher core? About 20 minutes later. It seems the research on the Herrscher core did not go smoothly. Yeah, all other physical indications suggest that it's a genuine Herrscher core. It can attract Honkai energy and trigger changes to physical laws. But the strange thing is, no matter how we do the experiment, we can't detect an imaginary singularity, just like those little cores from before. And we also know that the real Herrscher of Dominance minions are completely different than those puppets at the beginning. Based on its size and weight, we should be able to determine useful information about its imaginary singularity. Can I put in my 2 cents, even though it's just a thought I had? Go ahead. As you can see, Dr. Tesla is getting agitated. I'm thinking that this strange phenomenon might have to do with the Herrscher of Dominance controlling the field of domination. Huh? I mean, the imaginary singularity should exist in all dimensions simultaneously, right? If the number of dimensions corresponding to the field of domination is much higher than the number in reality, then detectable signals from the imaginary singularity would be many times bigger. In this case, even if we were faced with a real Herrscher core, maybe we wouldn't be able to detect any signal. After all, our instruments do have limited sensitivities. This does make some sense, but if this is the case, the only way to verify it would be to use... it can be done. Did you think of a different way, Dr. Einstein? Yeah, let's go find Kiana and Bronya. We will need to rely on this for this. Using Herrscher powers to bombard the Herrscher core? Yes, at present, this is the only way to verify the state of the Herrscher of Dominance Core. Is this a way to calm Dr. Tesla down? Bronya thinks any plan that solves that problem is a good plan. The purpose of this plan isn't limited to that, Bronya. If we are able to quickly confirm the status of the Herrscher core, it will also help us solve the problem with Otto. I heard he made a clone of his past self and then killed it. What is he up to? Could he really be planning to resurrect someone from 500 years ago? Even the Herrscher of Death can't do that. I don't know. The annoying thing about Otto is that since we can't trust anything he says, we have to keep a close eye on everything he does. If we can establish the active status of the Herrscher core, it means Otto has been up to more tricks, and we need to get more information out of him. He claims that he and Madame Theresa will finish the succession ceremony tomorrow, but no one really knows what he has planned. Right, Overseer may know a lot more than we think he does. Of who I am technically is subordinate, and it may be strange for me to say this, but haven't you all wanted to see further than that man, even once? Dr. Einstein told me that she had a good guess. That guess can be verified with the Herrscher of Dominance Core. Then we'll be closer than ever before to understanding the essence of Honkai, and we will have a deeper understanding than Otto. I think you got a bit overexcited, Nagamitsu. Sorry, I just get passionate about things like this. Sorry. In any case, we do need to keep our guard up against my grandpa, but I'm sure some questions will arise anyway. To reach the experimental target set by Dr. Einstein, we need to gather as much Honkai energy as possible and restrict it to the smallest possible space. In my capacity, it will do my best to provide Schicksal's lab equipment for your use. It's just a pity that I won't be able to participate in the experiment itself. I thought you were the most enthusiastic about it. There's no choice. Overseer wants me to report to him before 4:30. What does he need you to do? Maybe it's to help prepare for his journey, operating the second divine key or something. Anyway, it won't be anything too dangerous. You don't seem worried about the results of his experiment. On the cure of Hyperion and vagaries in the immortal plates, all export problem solvers. If possible, we should take preventative measures so we're not taken off guard. Alright, I understand. I do what I can for you guys when I meet with Otto. Is that okay? We wouldn't ask you to do anything more than that. Thanks for your understanding. Then let's hurry up and prepare the experimental materials and signal analysis equipment. The rest of you can take a break for an hour. The whole town is pretty safe now. Everyone can take this opportunity to get some exercise and some fresh air. Especially Kiana and Ponya, I recommend you to relieve some stress before the experiment begins. Yeah, that will help you direct your Herrscher powers more precisely in the experiment. Do you still remember the basics of Edge of Taxi-Yuan? Discard delusions, control your breathing, clear your mind of thoughts and feelings. Right, so use this opportunity to relax and go for a walk. It's not good to stay on board all the time. Thanks for the advice, Fua, in principle. There's something that's bothering me. I use this time to deal with it. Ponya will use this time to do some exercise that improves focus. Good, everyone go get some fresh air. Meeting adjourned. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we have two main story parts. Let's start with the things. Let's start with the first one. But I need to see how far we are. Since I don't want to make a 71%. I think I can manage to finish this chapter, this episode. That will probably be a bit longer than normally. Let's do that with the church first. Okay, we managed to get away. Can undo that. This could be a rare opportunity. Should we continue the battle that was interrupted 5 months ago? This was the invitation from the golden-haired knight to the silver-haired girl. 5 months earlier on the sands of North Africa, the two of them had sparred. The knight's gun kata and the girl's edge of Tucson both revealed skills that exceeded the other's expectations. It was just that at the time the girl wasn't sure she was on her way to becoming a hero, and the knight was bound by his mission. But despite this, in the few minutes they fought, they both had unmistakably feeling that the opponent they faced was the person in this world most similar to themselves. Yes. Let's start. Remember the Schicksal civil war we talked about today? The church ruins ahead date back to that period. And the square we are standing now is where the holy maiden Kalen Kaslana drew her last breath. The holy maiden Kalana. My dad told me that she set an example for all Kaslanas. Like you, she chose to betray Schicksal. And you have always served Schicksal. You even helped Otto with his spatial experiments. 5 months ago, I remember you asked me, why do you want to help Schicksal? And in return, I asked you if there were no Schicksal who would protect the billions of people on this earth from Honkai. You also said, in this world there is no absolute good and evil, or right and wrong. There's only the mission. Of course, at this point I understand that you had your reasons for saying that. But at the time, I really didn't understand what exactly was your mission and why did you have to obey Otto. I don't look down on you for that now, but if you are willing to tell me your reasons, I would be grateful. To make a probably flawed analogy, Overseer Otto is to me as Theresa Senpai is to you. It's undeniable that he made me who I am today. You also can't deny that his understanding of Honkai far surpasses all of us. Of course, I know your question was getting at this aspect. I tell you the answer to that question, but only after I've beaten you, right? Correct. Come on, Kiana Kasana. Time to settle the score. I expect nothing less. Why don't we need to fight in this form? That's mean. Can we use the Herrscher of Dominance? What do you think? Fuha told me about it. Never judge a first learner with old eyes. It's really cool. Your ability to control Herrscher powers is so much better than 5 months ago. It's like night and day. But you need to be even more vigilant against Otto now. He said many times we need the Herrscher of the Void and her powers. Otto needs the powers of the Herrscher of the Void? Yes, and this is definitely related to the answer I wanted to give you. After all, for my situation, the second divine key is necessary. The second divine key? You mean the divine key created using the Herrscher of the Void core from the previous era? That's right. It can detect the fluctuations of the Sea of Quanta and peer into the structure of the imaginary tree. It helped me complete part of my mission. It helped me to attach the bubble universe that was anchored within my body to the imaginary tree. The bubble universe in your body? I assume that's the main reason you've always worked with Otto? That's a reasonable assumption. Just like everything you've faced on your journey, it's a long story. The story started from some seemingly tedious and dangerous field work. If I hadn't said I was interested before the mission. Maybe it was just that I was 12 years old at that time. 12 years old? I did hear you were the youngest Valkyrie ever to reach A rank in S rank. But 12 years old? Maybe it's that I matured pretty early, but it doesn't matter. By today's standards, I wasn't a self-sufficient Valkyrie. Anyway, that day Rita and I accepted the mission to explore the Sea of Quanta. I heard that your colleagues had once visited deep at the bottom of the Marina Trench. But our objective wasn't that previous realm within the eye of the deep. The place we went, despite being spatially distorted, had a long history and rich culture just like our world, our own world. The king's men who operated a submarine were there, as was the mechanical port of Alexandria, and the Yucatan Federation who loved to play ball. There was also the Inca Republic, which unified South America and saved the world almost single-handedly. That world originally drifted in the depths of the Sea of Quanta and faced extinction, and yet it joined together heroes from different eras and different worlds. The heroic and always optimistic Captain Shakespeare, the wise experiments Dr. Schrödinger, and the straightforward and determined Cervantes. I could keep going. It would take a long time for me to introduce all of them to you, but to me, the important part of the story is that they chose me to guarantee their world's continued existence. It wasn't because I had that much ability when I was 12, it was because they didn't have any other choice. Using an ether anchor, they implanted their world into my body. That way, as long as I survived in my own world, their universe wouldn't be extinguished in the Sea of Quanta. So, ever since you were 12, you've carried that burden of this mission? Well, compared to your battle with the other Herrscher of the Void, my experience has been easy. To me, the world within my body is like my hometown in the mountains, although it's not as bustling as a big city at the same time. Only the few people that live there can sustain in its past, present and future. Over the past 5 years, I've been looking for a way to detach the bubble universe from my body, because that's the only way to free that world from its dependence on me. And it was a mission that only I could accomplish. As for your question, 5 months ago, everyone who grows up in Schicksal has to complete a mission like this. Was there anyone else she could choose to rely on? But I know, from your perspective, I was obviously on the wrong side, but to me, Schicksal plays an indispensable role. That's what I meant by what I said earlier. In this world, there's no absolute good and evil or right and wrong. There's only the mission. But you also said that the second divine key had already helped you complete part of that mission. Yes, a month ago, as luck would have it, I made it to the vicinity of the imaginary tree. That gave me the ability to transfer the bubble universe to other people, allowing others to carry on that mission. So you could say that I have a little more freedom now compared with before. 5 months ago I said to you that I longed for the title of Schicksal's strongest S-rank Valkyrie and made it my goal. It might be a little strange to say this, but if our paths lead us to a further future of conflict and confrontation, I'd be really disappointed. I know how you feel. I once judged you as having potential, and just 5 months later you're here proving your ability. Since with this then, Honkai is our common objective, a day will come when our different paths lead to the same place. In my current capacity, although I can't promise you anything. I hope you see that our respective missions are much more closely aligned today than they were 5 months ago. But Overseer's inexplicable actions today make me a little more nervous than usual. The second divine key doesn't meet his requirements, he might covet your abilities. Thanks for the warning. Everyone on the Hyperion is on the lookout for him. Glad to hear that. Yeah. Okay. It's getting late. Do you want to return to the Hyperion to complete the Herrscher collision experiment? Yeah. Do you want to come? Sure, I love that one. Coffee that Dr. Einstein brews. The golden-haired knight walked away with the silver-haired warrior by her side. She still had not realized that the lives of her and her counterpart were dramatically intertwined. Yeah. There's something through which they are almost identical. Oh, at least extremely close. I need to go there. And here is a water of some way. Oh, okay. Okay. That's helpful. Let's defeat this thing fast. Not that I would need to defeat it right now, but I think it would be a nice idea to finish it off and get whatever special power or ability or helpful thing I can get. And continue hitting it with, I would say, the Herrscher of Dominance Core right now is the strongest character that I have. And ultimate it again. And first place down. First that's it's down. And at least they can at least not stay underground right now the whole time. Annoying. Longer than I wanted it to take. Which is nice. Isn't nice right now, but nothing I can do about it at the moment. I can just take this thing until it's which almost is. Herrscher of Dominance Core. Longer than expected. I Physical damage. I don't need physical damage. Okay. Don't know what use that had, but I take it. Then let's continue the main story. Oh, one. Umbrella Rose wishes to spar with the Silver Wolf of the Urals. Just earlier, a elusive handwritten note with that message had landed in Ponya's pocket. After considering briefly, she decided that as a retired assassin, she would accept the invitation. Hello, Miss Ponya. Ah, there's no need to be nervous. I have no ill intention towards Miss Ponya. Of course, I know what I did in the church made everyone uneasy. As far as assassinations go, that was a clean hit. Cold, precise, and merciless. I'm sorry for the unhappiness I caused. But business is business. I'm sure the legendary Silver Wolf of the Urals can understand. Maybe there was a time when I would have understood, but now I think when it comes to matters of right and wrong, business is no excuse. That's very true, Miss Ponya. Everyone should have their own standards for such things. Relying too much on external rules is a display of immaturity. What is it that you want to say? Ah, nothing. It's just that you and Miss Kiana are about to participate in the experiment on the Herrscher Core, so Dunda asked me to come and see if I could help with anything. Of course, if that is unacceptable to Miss Ponya, I will excuse myself. Ponya won't be walking along and suddenly be sliced by your blade, right? Miss Ponya has a good sense of humor. Even though the Silver Wolf of the Woods was only an assassin briefly before disappearing, I don't dare to overstep against the mercenary who reached the top of Charon's list in record time. Besides, Dunda told me many times not to cause trouble with the crew of Hyperion, so naturally I wouldn't do anything improper. Alright, Rita, what do you recommend I practice? Combat warm-up, of course. Please come this way, Miss Ponya. Okay. And we can even instantly play Ponya. We have unlocked her. Okay. Kiana would be better right now. Yes, then she deals extra damage against this enemy. And ultimate. Boom. And I can use my power again. Setting everything in place. It's just beginning. See that? If you have the name Silver Wolf of the Worlds, your moves are efficient and your mind is sharp. Rita has learned a lot from you. But can I give a small pointer as a next generation mercenary? Tell me. Miss Ponya's moves are efficient, effective, but could be just a bit more graceful. The most important thing on the battlefield is to incapacitate the target. Trying to do everything else can affect the success of the mission. Very true, Miss Ponya, but maybe adding some flair would be helpful for future missions? You mean getting more potential employees to notice your work? That's certainly one benefit, but what I meant was that art can establish level of trust with people that goes beyond the ordinary. But seeing is believing. I will demonstrate if that's alright with Miss Ponya. Okay. I understand what the plan is. makes sense. It was easy to get this chest. Why do I need to fight against them? Wasn't Rita supposed to do this? Or maybe the plan was that I can play Rita at the moment. Or that I maybe would be playing Rita at the moment. Not that it really matters in the end. Why doesn't it take damage? Disappear. And that's it. What do you think? I would welcome any suggestions. Why did you help Otto, Rita? I'm a Schicksal S-Rank Valkyrie and Otto had always been the Schicksal Overseer. But I know that's not the answer you wanted. Dundal and I aren't so bad. It's just that when faced with certain choices, we decided based on our own interests. And some of these choices hurt you guys, but at that moment, we had to rely on our own imperfect knowledge. Well, let me ask it a different way. Do you consider Dundal to be your colleague or your superior? I consider her a friend about whom I care deeply. What about Otto? He's the overseer of Schicksal, who still hasn't technically left office. Obeying his orders is my duty as a Valkyrie. If Dundal decided to leave like Otto, what would you do? Rita laughed gracefully. Forgive me, Miss Bonya, it's not easy to answer that question, given my current situation. But please understand this, you and I might be more similar than you think. What do you mean? I mean, we each have someone within our circle of friends who's very cute but sometimes causes us to worry. Rita winked mischievously. At first glance, Master Dundal is a serious person who doesn't spare people's feelings. She seems rather unapproachable. Yet in certain situations, she's like an awkward young girl. To return to your question, Miss Bonya, if she left, I believe we would each decide what to do based on our own judgment. I think I understand what you're getting at. That's great then. Although our past is full of friction and unhappiness, I hope that once Theresa takes over as overseer, everyone will get along with each other. This will take some time for both sides, but I hope so too. Then why not start our friendship by dealing with a Honkai beast together? Sure, if you can keep up with Bonya. I do my best. Okay, so we need to defeat one more. Oh, and this one. This one. Like this. Perfect. I don't even wait until it. What is this? A Herrscher of Dominance is weak against this one. That makes it not. Makes it funny. That if you play the Herrscher of Reason, you have a disadvantage against this enemy. And the next hit. Diana is a bit stronger. Here it's more damage, I think. It would make more sense to use Diana at the moment to defeat this enemy. And slash. I can use fire again. 1, 2. And the enemy is almost down. The Lava Emperor. And I can even deal damage with a fire character, but wow, really impressive, Miss Ponya. You earned that yourself, Schicksal is Gregory. Thanks, Miss Ponya. I hope this training will be helpful in the upcoming experiment. Yeah, I feel like I'm all warmed up. Thank you. Well then, I think it's time for me to bid you farewell. I hope the experiment goes smoothly. Mr. Dunta and I will be rooting for you. At this point, Rita bowed slightly and turned to leave. Hey, Rita. What is it, Miss Ponya? About what you told me today, Ponya just wants to remind you of one thing. Please tell me. Since you believe your comrades wouldn't make a decision that disappoints you, I assume you wouldn't make a decision that disappoints your comrades. Of course not, Miss Ponya. Rita will keep this in mind. After the mysterious Valkyrie politely took her leave, Ponya found another note in her pocket. Umbrella Rose will fight hard in her final battle and won't let you down. That was the mercenary who had not yet retired said. Yeah. Okay. Oh, we all know it does. But firstly I want to know how far we are. 80%. Okay, not much more, I think. But this will definitely be a longer episode. But now it's way too late. Or they just jump down. Yeah, the right place. After over an hour of urgent preparations, the platform for the Herrscher collision experiment had been set up on a bridge in Coruscant. Under a dark, overcast sky, the Herrscher of Flamico and the third Herrscher of Reason had each taken their positions. Kiana, Ponya, try to focus your Honkai energy in a straight line so that it collides with the other beam. This experiment will be a new challenge for you two, so please make sure to comply with the instructions at each step. Yes, Souvenir. No problem, Mr. White. Then I will direct Ponya. Fura, would you mind doing the same thing for Kiana? Will do. Kiana, use Edge of Tucson to control your power. Start with the tiniest amount of Honkai energy and gradually increase it. Let the Honkai energy flow out slowly, like drops of water, gradually forming a small stream. Control the direction of the flow, such that you, Ponya, and the experimental core form a straight line. Now together with Ponya, let more Honkai energy flow out. Gradually increase your output. Okay, now. Let's do this. Herrscher Core Liberation. The two equal powerful beams of Honkai energy came in contact with the Herrscher of Dominance Core, creating an almost perfect collision with no energy leaking. The Herrscher of Dominance Core, which had not reacted in any previous experiments, began to give off a subtle yet distant glow. The anti-entropies recording equipment recorded every energy function throughout the process. Now all that was needed was to wait for the results of the data analysis. Okay. Congratulations on your experiments. Success, Kiana. Thanks, this brute force method is also something new for us. It was lucky that we had success on our first try. Yes, Ponya hopes that this experience and the experimental results will be useful for everyone in the future. But even if it's not, exploration has a value in and of itself. When it comes to assisting Herrschers, the experience Schicksal has accumulated. In my opinion, the ability to observe Herrschers in slow motion like this gives us insights for coordinated combat. You mean you want to fight together with us in the future? Of course, I've been looking forward to it. Before, the Immortal Blades fought alongside the Herrscher of Thunder, but due to a lack of understanding between us, the results were not ideal. May. She's probably talking about the incident at Coral Island. To be honest, we wrote a 3,000 word incident report at the time. Even Overseer thought Brunda might be over-analyzing. Huh? What is it? A message from the Overseer. I take it on the public channel. Otto. Good afternoon, my friends on Hyperion. Good afternoon, Valkyries. Did research on the Herrscher Core go smoothly? Grandpa, didn't you say there was no reason to contact us anymore? Wow, don't be so cold, Theresa. Are you still mad at me for killing that clown? You all have obviously forgiven Rita, but you still hold it against me? Anyway, I currently do not have anything I need to discuss with those on Hyperion, but I do have a mission for Schicksal's S-Rank Valkyries. Does it have to do with that journey you mentioned? Sharp as always, don't I? That's right, I've already made all the necessary preparations. I just need a little help from you and Rita. Alright, other members of Immortal Blades, you can stay there and continue to assist my granddaughter. She will be taking over the Schicksal Overseer position shortly. After all, it'd be great if everyone gets familiar with the work ahead of time. How to put this, for the vast majority of you, this is the last time you hear from me. I'll be hitting the road soon. Is Mr. Wade also on the line? I'm really sorry that I didn't let you guys enjoy Thanksgiving that year in New York. All these years, I've wanted to apologize to you. I even wanted to kneel down at a monument and weep to express my regret. But after all these years, I'm guessing you don't want me to do anything pretentious like that. This is what you wanted to say to me before you hit the road? What else should I say? To give another example, do you think K423 also wants me to apologize? Since you are all so flawless and heroic, I didn't think you would be so petty. Overseer, let's not discuss whatever there's a problem with what you said. Herrscher of the Void, no, Herrscher of Flemico. She has a name. And it isn't K423. It's Kiana Kaslana. Okay, Kiana Kaslana, that's fine. After all, the real owner of the name became like that 10 years ago. Theresa, it seems that you want to say something. You... Relax, Theresa, you don't have to say it if you don't want to. Your grandpa has done a lot of things that don't make sense. He knows this well. You might find that some shocking things will happen soon. When they happen, you will probably think your grandpa is not someone worth remembering. Just remember that the positives and negatives are both important. What do you mean? What will your journey bring about? You know soon enough, so I don't need to explain here. But don't worry, those events will not pose any threat to you. Brunda, Rita, come to the morning glow overlook on Kaslana Street to give me a report. I need you to take one final shift. To the rest of you, I bid you farewell. The blonde-haired overseer promptly cut off the communication link, leaving everyone speechless. That despicable fool. Can't he talk like a normal person? If Moped hadn't covered my mouth, I would have given him a piece of my mind. Tesla, he used these excuses to provoke us. But if he is really gonna walk away like this, why would he want to provoke us? So you're saying that he might still have some plans for us? That would explain that graceful speech of his today, but what does he gain by provoking us and even provoking those around him? How does it help him achieve his goals? And the goals that he claims to have also raise some doubts. If he really just wants to go to a parallel universe to search for another Kalen, then one would assume, give me for this, Madame Theresa, that he would be satisfied by successfully cloning Kalen, and he wouldn't even need to leave this world. So I keep in mind that Nakamitsu said that free will is unchanging and there is only one choice that was made. It seems she was suggesting a contradiction. If Nakamitsu was still here, we could ask for her opinion, but she participated in a lot of spatial experiments for Schicksal. She believed that Overseer would use the second divine key to leave this world. She also thought that, just as Otto said, it wouldn't impact us in any way. But he is the Overseer. Maybe technical staff believed he doesn't lie, but I'm afraid that's not necessarily the case. Maybe we can learn something from the awakening of the Herrscher of the Void. So are you guys really going to obey his orders and go report to him? We just have to see what happens. Maybe it's a trap. But if we don't go see for ourselves, we may be susceptible to hidden threats. Everyone calm down. Overseer doesn't represent the entire Schicksal organization anymore. From the moment he announced his resignation, Madame Theresa's position also needs to be taken into consideration. Yes, at least I can guarantee that the Mortal Blades won't regard you as enemies again. But you guys need to be careful as well. As soon as Otto discovers that he can't manipulate you anymore, he may do something cruel. You're talking about Vienna, right? You know that name? Yes, I have a friend who told me her story. I knew she once wielded a Abyss Flower, and I know the basics of her relationship with anti-entropy. Vienna is a good person. When she and I worked together, it reminded me of the relationship between you and Rita. It was just that at that time I didn't make friends easily, so I didn't get to know her that well. She is a warrior and a true Valkyrie. If you knew her, you should have known what kind of degenerate the Overseer is. Overseer really went too far against anti-entropy. It was one of Schicksal's darkest moments. Okay, however you look at it, these events in the past don't have much relevance to our situation now. Don't I, Vita? You think going to meet up with my grandfather is the right choice. Taibinku won't stop you. But you must be careful. Yes, we will be extremely cautious. It is the crafty Otto Apocalypse, so everyone needs to be on guard and plan for the worst. We be on high alert. Let's hope for the best. You can do it. You're Schicksal's strongest S-rank Valkyries. Thank you. I also believe in you, Herrscher of Flamico. Und dann wieder left, okay. Yes. Go. The last second is part of the... Okay. I think that will probably be the last point then. No, 50. Okay, one after that, one more. Okay, so we will have a 2 hour long video. I'm already happy about it. That will be very fun. I didn't imagine that this would be it that long anymore or this much to do. But well, nothing I can do. Oh. Caution here. Okay, so then this is now the final part, I think. Since proceed with caution got weird. At least that was what was being said. So I just believe it for a second. That would mean that this is now just what Otto has planned for this two Valkyries. Which is interesting. Yeah. Okay. Oh no, I don't think that's a good sign. Miss Lee, you're here too? Why not just call me by my name? It makes me nervous when you're overly polite like that. Yeah, Shurang sized up Durandal and Vita's rather serious expression. She realized that their understanding of the Vakash's plans was a bit lacking. So Overseer really didn't tell you about it. No wonder he wanted me to stay away from you, the crew of Hyperion. It seems he wanted to keep it a secret from us until the final moment. It seems that things have gotten a little more complicated than I imagined. All the S-Wing Valkyries are gathered here now. Just yesterday he talked to me about all kinds of strange things. Like the imaginary tree, higher dimensional space, and the directional fractures. Seems like his plan is also related to time. He probably made the bizarre events in the town possible himself. Did he tell you why he did all this? I kind of knew it from the beginning, or you can say I felt it 500 years ago. Schicksal once had a Valkyrie worshipped as the Holy Maiden, right? Kalen Kaslana, the Overseer's childhood sweetheart. Ishurang paused for a few seconds. How can I put it? The way he missed her made even me feel lonesome. Long ago in the desert, he'd sit there day and night alone. You should know how it feels. So you think he's being serious? He's setting up everything here to bring Kaslana back to life? Is it the way he expresses himself that makes you feel he's insecure? He's been that serious about it all along. And the reason why he woke me up from the deep slumber was exactly that. His plan had entered the final phase. Miss Lee, are you saying that the fact that the Overseer awakened you indicates he has found a reliable way to revive the Holy Maiden who died 500 years ago? Yeah. After all, that's what he promised me. Promise? You know, I was badly wounded in an event 500 years ago, and my wounds were almost impossible to heal back then. The Overseer put me to sleep so that he could have more time to figure out how to heal me. Putting everything he did aside, he saved my life, and that's a fact. Before I went to sleep, when he asked me when I wished to be woken up, out of curiosity, I didn't say when humanity had conquered Honkai. Instead, I chose when he had fulfilled his wish. Back then, I did wish to see his dream come true with my own eyes. Which is to say, the Overseer is very confident now about realizing his lifelong dream. Just to be absolutely sure, Rita changed her wording and asked the question again. I guess, and people probably would get hurt for it, just like what happened with the Herrscher of the Void. Are you going to stop him? No. Sorry, but I can't break my promise to him. Besides, he has kept his word. He could have left me alone and kept me asleep forever. But then again, if you wish to stop him, I won't stand in your way either. That's not my business. Are you saying you will stay neutral no matter what happens later? Ah, not necessary. I fight for him once. Just once, and after that, we're even. But you still be a Schicksal Valkyrie, Miss Lee. You're right. By that time I help you clean up the mess left by him, if I can. He surely will leave a big mess behind, won't he? After the experiment on the Herrscher of the Void, it took us 3 months to deal with minor Honkai events across the globe. Yes, her awakening was inevitable. But we're also clear that everything started with the Overseer's plan and the fact that he needed her power. You don't want the same thing to happen again, right? Of course, the mission of Schicksal is to wipe out Honkai, and none of us has forgotten that. Perhaps we need to study Honkai before we can destroy it, but we are Schicksal, not anti-entropy or world serpent. We can never turn a blind eye to the cost of the so-called progress. I believe you're sincere in not using this as a petty excuse. I believe from your perspective this is the proof that you are you. But every individual has a free soul, and for the others their proof might be drastically different. I've only known this world for a few months, but it's long enough for me to learn you can both be alike and different. Perhaps it's exactly the difference in the ideas that created such a diverse, cool, yet beautiful world. Anyway, I'm in no position to stand in your way, but you shouldn't expect my resolve to be swayed either. As long as this resolve brings competition and try instead of hatred and destruction, it wouldn't be so bad, right? I guess men are born to be different, and we can't ask everyone to think and act the same. Besides, there's a single standard for judging what's right and wrong. So you believe it's best for everyone to stick to their values? My master used to say, if everyone was the same, why would we need to learn martial arts? The world moves around through clashes and collisions among individuals, and in return it shapes us into who we are. Those who do not adhere to their principles are unworthy in my master's eyes. But she seems to be an exception herself. No adherence is her adherence. Anyway, if I wish to get to the bottom of the Overseer's plan, you won't stop me, right? No, I won't, even though I did wish to see his dream come true 500 years ago. But that's no reason for me to get between you. Of course, if you made up your mind, you should be prepared. After all, no matter what his plan entails, it represents the sum of all his obsessions over the past 500 years. I know. Alright, that's everything I have to say. Let's go and find him. After all, we don't know what arrangements he has for us, right? Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't trust him one bit. Greetings, my dear S-rank Valkyries. All silent? Alright, maybe you're indeed speechless to my hologram. But in case something I did recently rattled you, permit me to apologize. After all, as someone who's about to leave this world, I may appear overly dramatic. Sorry, my Valkyries, please forgive my last mischief. So you indeed headed to the Netherworld. Please allow me to ask, what's the price? The price, yes, everything comes with a price, but I like to correct a small error first. I'm leaving this world, but strictly speaking, I'm not going to another. My destination is the other side of the world, where different worlds border, and where time can be redefined. Can you speak common language? I had no idea what you intend to do the last time you told me. Alright, an analogy perhaps. Say we're walking on a beach. We leave a trail of footprints which remind us of where we came and now how far we've covered. But compared to the footprints on the beach, there are other things less distinguishable. Imagine a garden with many trails. Every trail branches out into new and smaller trails. When you turn back, you see all your footprints wiped out. Now that we've envisioned such a garden, we can allow it to represent something more abstract, time. And the garden of time branched out trails lead to infinite futures, and when we consider all the trails collectively, we realize it's a tree that grows and expands forever, its roots and crown. The tree doesn't exist in any dimension we can get in touch directly, hence we call it the imaginary tree. The pioneers once taught me there are numerous parallel universes on the tree from which numerous me can be observed. Indeed, but the tree functions in a way far more complicated than parallel universes. Remember what I said? Time branches out on the imaginary tree. If we put this fact in perspective, we realize if we can somehow find a way to move freely on the tree, we can make time flow backwards. But in reality, we never heard time can be made to flow backwards. Sure, because it is difficult. You've heard the competition between the imaginary tree and the Sea of Kanta, right? The competition defies the direction of time flow, which is fundamental difference between time and other dimensions. If time cannot be turned back, how can you make it flow the other way around? I can't, no one can. But from another angle, time is but the direction of growth for the imaginary tree, nothing more. So if we can manipulate the tree itself, it won't be hard to choose the location where the world grows. What do you mean? Instead of controlling time, you want to control the world? The reason why we can sense the flow of time is that our growth is in accordance with that of the imaginary tree. On the other hand, if we somehow manage to turn back the growth point of the imaginary tree to 500 years ago, this way the world from 500 years ago can give up our present moment and the future that has turned history, and begin to evolve again based on its own time. Give up? Evolve again? Then what will happen to our world? Nothing. Speaking from the result, the effect is mutual. You will still exist and your environment will remain the same. That contradicts my common sense. Of course, there's a price to pay, but that doesn't concern you in any way. Alright, so much about explanation. Now I require all of you to perform some simple duties. I need you to guard the area between Morning Glow, Overlook and Danny Tail. Keep everyone out, including Theresa. Why? I need to do something very delicate to the imaginary tree. You know how easily I am misunderstood, so I don't want any disturbance while I'm at it. What? Li Shuang, you cover the Morning Glow Overlook and the Schicksal Bridge. With our size, you cover the Holy Maiden Square and Elbe Street in the Danny Trail. I help you if necessary. Rundai, you stay mobile and get ready for any uncertainty. You're now dismissed. The former Schicksal overseer cut off the communication curtly, regardless of Donda's questions. On the one hand, he did need more time to finish a crucial step in his plan. On the other hand, he was also waiting for an opportunity, one that would minimize the costs of his plan, and that remained exclusive to the Schicksal, as Sven Gregory said. It was best they were kept in the dark. Yeah. Really? There's more? I thought we would be done. Oh no, now we are at the last point. Oh, this is a long chapter. Chapter overall almost 3.5 hours. But this will be a really long episode. No, I won't do it. It took about an hour before the data from the Herrscher collision experiment was roughly processed. The imaginary singularity of the Herrscher of Dominance does have a ring-shaped structure, a very small one though. Nakamitsu predicted that due to the fiat of domination, the singularity might have leaked to extra dimensions. Given the leakage, the data still doesn't add up. Mopep, check the figures yourself. By Planck's length, the ring's matter is measured in 10 orders of magnitude. Confidence interval for standard deviations. 10 orders of magnitude? Yeah, even the first Herrscher singularity, which only the size of a nucleus, is measured in 20 orders of magnitude. The disparity is in 10 orders of magnitude, which is 10 billion-fold. None level of leakage can accomplish this result, unless its Herrscher power is only effective in extra dimensions. Only effective in extra dimensions? But how is that possible? It can at least control the puppet strings and influence the puppets with a portion of its power. Theresa, has it ever occurred to you that... What is it? Don't keep me hanging in the air. Before we end the collision experiment, the Herrscher of Dominance power might have collapsed into extra dimensions. I mean, someone might have meddled with the Herrscher power and rendered it only effective in extra dimensions. And there's only one person capable of that. Damn it, he played us again. Inform Theresa and let her know Otto has stolen the Herrscher of Dominance power. It's all messed up. 1830 Saturday, October 14th, 2017. For the first time, the Hyperion crew realized the real danger in their trip to Schicksal. The play with road. Things bad began make strong themselves by ill. The writer wrote, a person doesn't die when he should, but when he can. But the poet wrote, round the decay of the causal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away. So, from what we can tell, Otto now has planned to use the power of the Herrscher Dominance to do whatever for all the paper fights. Otto Experiment Core. Yes. And with that, we have 100% of chapter 26. Have with that finished chapter 26. I know this episode was extremely long in comparison to the others. Yeah, the bonus physical damage, I don't need it at the moment. And a lot of rewards. Some rewards, but still a lot missing what we can get. And mission reports. Oh, and that's the picture of chapter 27. Okay. But with that, I would say that was it for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, I would be happy about a like, a sub and a comment. And yeah, I hope I see you all in the next video. Goodbye.